I think I was muted. So, hi everyone again. Everyone who joins us today for this fascinating stream. It's live coding again. So, hopefully, we're going to produce some nice content and some fun coding time because today we're going to build a battleship game that will use AI and MongoDB on the back end. So, we'll be able to not only store our content, but also serve it to the AI in a way that the game will be still fair. So, hi everyone, and please leave a message on the comments to say where you're joining from, and we'll greet you. Um, and hopefully, if you have any questions or any doubts throughout the live stream, definitely uh, mention that to me. I'm Pavel Dukovny. I'm a lead developer advocate here at MongoDB, and I am building lots of applications with MongoDB. And lately, with the different AI partners and AI modules that we are integrated with. And today, hopefully, we're going to use Claude 3.4, 3.5 through AWS Bedrock. So if you're interested also how to integrate with AWS Bedrock, that would be also a part of the stream, and I'll also leave some content to talk about the coupled integration we have for their knowledge base. So, hi everyone from Turkey, Tampa, Florida, uh, and hopefully other folks will join us soon. So, as you settle in, I'm going to tell you that live coding does not come away with uh, bugs. They're gonna appear and errors and failures, and I really like them because usually uh, I would think that this is the best way to learn. If you get errors and you are able to solve them and show people how you solve them, that actually makes other people more confident in their coding. So hopefully we're going to see some errors today as well. Hi from everyone in India. Hello. I'm gonna probably start sharing my screen because this is like the interesting part. I'll share my entire screen. I'll share my entire second screen. So hopefully most of the time we'll be able to work with this split screen to code on one hand and see the application on the others. Um, I also have my pirate props here. So I have my patch eye, right? Because in a battleship game, we need to be a little bit like pirate-ish. Uh, and if I'll win, I also have a pirate hat. So if I can win the AI in the battleship game at the end, I'll wear that hat. I promise. Yeah, no coding without bugs and errors. Yeah, yeah. Don't get frustrated by errors. Like just learn from them and embrace them. Right. All right. So just to start, we're going to use a nice framework that I like to use when I'm coding, which is called Streamlit. And the nice thing about Streamlit is it's easy to code with it. It's easy to um, produce UIs with it. It's Python based, uh, and I always start with a little like test file so we can see it. So I'm gonna run this test file, and yeah, I'm gonna just refresh my page, and you can see that every element here was rendered on screen, and it's easy to add conditions uh, and um, and basically other features to my application using Streamlit. So it's easy to code on live streams, especially. I don't know if it's a production grade framework. Like I know that there are apps that use that, um, but I definitely think that it's nice to see and create POCs with it because on the back end it will use functions that you can use in any Python server, basically. So in this case, we just created a button that says hello, and we'll see that hello appears up here. right? We can create an input, right? This, once we rerun the application, we're going to see the input here, and I can say Pavel and press enter, and it will say your name is Pavel, right? So that's pretty simple. We're taking the text input element, we're getting the name, and we're printing this out, right? So far so good. It's a very procedural language. Um, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add some MongoDB to this. So the first thing I do is I'll need to from PyMongo import Mongo client, right? So I need the Mongo client to connect to my Atlas database that I have right here. If you've never created an Atlas cluster, it's very easy. Um, you're going to go on cloud.mongodb.com, or you can go on our mongodb.com/try and initiate your first project. We have a free cluster for life to create, and then you can basically start working with MongoDB. So in this case, I have my cluster here. I'm connected through a tool called Compass. I recommend that tool. It has nice visuals. So for now, I don't have anything in my test database, so we won't see it here at all. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to also import the OS package to use my environment variables. And I already have my connection string, right? This connection string from my cluster loaded into my MongoDB Atlas URI, right? So yeah, so far we just connected the MongoDB database, and now we can use this client, right? This collection element that was initialized with test and collection can be used to perform our inserts, updates, deletes, and finds. So let's say that I want to insert that name that I just got into my collection. So I'll do call insert one, uh, insert one, and then I'll have a document. And this document will say name, and it will be my name, right? Just a simple CRUD operation, right? Let's refresh this. All right. And now once I input Pavel, I didn't get any indication that anything happened, but if we're gonna refresh here, we're gonna see that the collection was created, and this, let me increase that a little bit, and that, yeah, that font, that name was inserted. Sorry. Let's go on full screen. So my face is not important at the moment for the live stream. All right, so that's the basics, and we can move on to the actual app that we're going to build. So I've prepared, again, I guess a substantial amount of code already prepared, so that we won't waste a lot of time building the basics of the battleship application or the game, which will have boards and will have like a log of operations, and we're going to see it in a moment because I'm gonna run this application. So I'm gonna run app.py, which is this file, and once I run it, it's a little bit up here. Yeah, we don't need the compass anymore. So I will just place it up here. We'll close those tabs. And I'm going to go into wide mode just so we will see it better. All right. Okay, so this is our battleship game, right? Like, what do we have here? We have some title, we have my board, and we have the opponent's board, right? So my board has the different ships placed. So as you can see, we initialize our main operations here, constants with like the emojis we want to use for the battleship game, and the different ships. And yeah, ignore this one. And then we have the kind of like standard functions, right? Like create an empty board, place ships randomly on that board. Function that says if I can place this ship or this slot is taken. Um, One that places a ship, right? Like the code here is pretty, this standard if else while loops. Um, the important part here is that when we initialize the game, we use Streamlit session state to store all the game's data. So the game does not use a database at the moment. It uses this session state to have the player board created, have the opponent board, have the player attack, and have the opponent attack. And then there's a bunch of counters here, right? Like how many ships do I have to take down in order to win the game? Is the game over? Some messages that I can output during the game. And then it's just a basic computer game, right? Like I have a check game over function. I have the render board that will render the different icons and create those buttons that we see over here, right? Let's play the game a little bit. So in a battleship game, right? But what do we do? We need to take turns and to shoot at some place, and hopefully this will hit the ship. And in this case, let me increase that a little bit. And in this case, I've got a miss, and the opponent got a hit, right? And if we go next, I'll hit this place, and the opponent will hit this place for some reason, right? And the reason the opponent is hitting that random place is because our application is quite dumb, right? How does it choose where to place the shot? It basically, in the opponent turn, we are we're basically looping through this through the board and trying to shoot a random place that was not shot yet, right? And once we find an empty spot, we break, and then we can we can make the move and try to see if we hit something or miss, right? So up until now, there's nothing clever beside the fact that it's like just trying to potentially hit my ships on random places, right? I can cheat and see here I place the debug to see my opponent's board. So I can find, oh no, that wasn't the place, which is row 4. No, sorry, it's row, I guess it's row 6. And yeah, here, all of those are his 5 carrier ship. Boom. No, have one here. Yeah. All right. So I sank the ship, and I'll manually just, have to myself like a note, the ship was sank, right? So if we want to store this data not in the game session, but in MongoDB first, let's try and do that quickly. And then once we have the data in MongoDB, we can have a document that only represent the opponent view, and we can try and use AI to fit this context of the board that the AI see, and try to see if it will be smarter than the randomly picking spots, right? So I'm gonna first reset the game. It's gonna reset all the different ships. And now I'm gonna move on here, and we're gonna start building this game with MongoDB. So first of all, as we did before that, uh, we initializing a MongoDB client, and we also be initializing an object ID, right? And now we will use the battleship and games, battleship database and games collection. The next thing we're going to do is we need to find a place to store the initialized boards, right? So it's here. It's the initialize game method, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to create something called a game ID, and we're going to insert two documents, right? We're going to insert um, this document, which is games insert one, and then uh, we're going to insert the different boards. So for example, this will be my player document. So I have my game ID, then I have my board. Let's see what's happening here that it doesn't like some of the closing. Yeah, so this one will have my um how is it called? Player attacks. Yeah, player attacks, right? Um and so this will store my board and this opponent board that I see all the time during the game, and it's type player, right? And the next one that we need to store is on the same game. We have, let's move this down. We have the other board, the board of my opponent. So um, the board is opponent. No, it's actually uh, opponent board. Yeah. So the board is opponent board, and the attacking board is opponent attacks, right? So yeah, so if we fetch the game state, this one is opponent attacks. So hopefully I spelled it right. And blah blah blah. Let's trim that a little bit, right? And the type is opponent, right? And finally, we're gonna also store locally the game ID. So still we have some problem here with the indentation. All right. So now when we initialize a game, we should get two documents with the different boards, right? So let's save that. Let's go to our application and rerun it. All right. Let's see what happened on the database side. So we're gonna go battleship and we have games, right? So now we have two documents with the same game ID, with two boards, right? This board has my ships in it, right? So it says board. It has only oceans in it. We're gonna see what's the problem is. Let's go back to our insert. Oh yeah, I'm doing the same problem. So instead of inputting here the player board, I am inputting the player attacks, which is basically initially only empty. So we're gonna save that. Let's delete all the documents that we created, delete those two documents. And now let's move back to the application, rerun the application. We're gonna do reset game to rerun the initialize function again. And hopefully now we're gonna see a different image. Let's run the find again. Oop, oop, oop. Let's see what happened here. So we got a bunch of documents. that will run a few times. So it's probably the few refreshes that we have. All right, let's delete everything again and reset the game, just so we know that we are on the right track. Okay, now the collection is empty. All right. Let's go back. Let's hit reset game. And whoop, get it reset. Still fine. No, it still runs the initialize twice. Right, so it runs the initialize twice. All right, that's interesting. So we are running initialize game twice. Where are we calling initialize game? So first here. Oh, so just in the main. And when we're resetting a game, reset game, we're just clearing the session. Oh, and we're doing a rerun. Do we have any other reruns? Rerun will rerun the application. Guess that we have a rerun. We have a few reruns. All right, so let's do the following. Let's first save the game ID in our, so if there's no game ID in the game station, game state, we gonna create one. And then we gonna use this one. Right? We're gonna use this game ID to store the data. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this with not an insert one. We're gonna do an update one, right? And we're gonna use $set. So first of all, an update one will need a filter, which will say, update where game ID is this game ID. And then we gonna take this and I'm gonna use the upsert one. Upsert equals true, right? So every time the game initialize, if it's the same game ID, we're not gonna do anything basically. So we're gonna do this and go do this. We can use a $set here. We can use a $set to set all those fields if they're needed. Basically, so we're gonna do a $set here. Gonna do a $set here, and whoop, great. So we don't need this line anymore because we're doing that in the beginning. The only thing is when we will reset the game. Oh, when we reset the game, we clear the state, so everything will be cleared. So that's all right. All right, let's see what happens now. Let's clear the database again. Delete all documents. Boop. Fine. Great. It's gonna go here. Did I save the file? I did save the file. Let's refresh. What happened? Insert games. Didn't I change that to a? Oh yeah. Update one. Yeah, let's rerun. Oop. Let's change it to a widescreen just so we see it better. All right, let's see what happens now. So we have one. Let's. Oh yeah. I see what's happening here. So we're we're updating on game ID, but it also should be the type of player, right? This one is for the player. This one is for the player, and this one is for. Oops, sorry. This one is for the opponent, right? How do I call it? Opponent. So we don't need this here anymore because that will come from the filter. And we also don't need this one here. Right. All right. Let's redeploy. Let's rerun. Okay. Oop. Yes. Now we have uh two elements. One with our board. Yeah, let's see if that's correct. So online on this line, on the second line, we should have a ship somewhere. So I'm gonna go to compass and I'm gonna see if we have a boat at line 4. Okay, so all those were stored in MongoDB, right? So now there's the player view and the opponent view. They're stored in MongoDB. So for this game, right, for this game ID, um, oh, this is an object ID. Okay, that's weird why it shows it this way. Okay, I don't know. But yeah, so now all those boards are stored in MongoDB. But if we start playing, right? If we start playing, I'm not sure that this thing uh, will update, but it might, because I think what happens is that the initial game will happen every rerun. So um, we might check if the state was updated already. So let's do another find. And where did I shoot? I think so. If I'm looking at my board, my attacking board, I've tried to hit. Let's try to hit this one, which is the first one on the last row. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so if I'm going here and I'm pressing find, looking at my attacking board, and I'm going to go and I'm going to look at this one. No, it doesn't have, oh yeah, it does have. Okay, so here it is. So it also records my misses basically, right? So now it also records the changes in the attacking board. Right? It might also track the things that happened to my board. So if there was a hit, I might see an explosion here as well, like the explosion emoji. All right. So actually, we covered both with this technique, the update and the creation of those boards. So because every rerun, we are kind of like running through the initialization of a game, we are storing the board into the database, right? But the game is still doing its random picks, right? So we haven't used any AI so far. So let's go to the interesting part. Let's start building our AI strategy. So for AI, I'm gonna use yeah. Let's reconnect to my AWS account. I'm gonna use Bedrock, which is Amazon's suite of LLMs. And in Bedrock, we have a few foundational modules. And the interesting thing about the foundational modules is that they all can be accessed through the Bodo, through the Bodo SDK from AWS. So let me hide that. And we have a few articles on how to use Bedrock and a few notebooks on our Gen AI showcase repository. So I really encourage people to um, try and use that. Um, try and use that repository. There's a lot of good content there. Um, we try to keep the README up to date. There's different notebooks for RAG, agents, workshops, evaluations of um, different LLMs and different providers that we integrate with. So it's really interesting. So really encourage everyone to visit that repository and play around. But in our case, we're going to use Claude. Claude by Anthropic, and they released Claude 3.5, which has a very, very good reasoning and a very good, I would say, coding abilities. So what we'll try to do is we'll try to contact it and show it the document that or part of the document that only belongs to my opponent. So only type opponent document, and hopefully by viewing the boards and also the history of the game, which we are actually not writing, and we should probably write the history of the game to the document as well. So let's first do that. So we do store the opponent moves in an array, and every time that the opponent attacks, we will append a row, the column, and the status of that hit. So we can just basically take this information, go all the way up, and um, and store it as part of the opponent board. So we can say um, also opponent moves is opponent moves, and this is what is really nice about MongoDB is that adding fields is so easy, right? I'm just going to my obsert, adding the field, adding the value, and it starts getting tracked, right? So let's store this one. Let's go into my application again, and let's rerun. And the rerun should have already made the job for us. So yeah, so we have the moves basically here. So this was the moves that the player made, right? Cool. Okay, let's move to providing this to our AI. So to work with Claude, I initially initialized my AWS credentials. So I have my AWS access key in the terminal, inputted in the terminal, and AWS secret key, and I'm using the environment variables to provide it to our Boto 3 client, which is the official SDK client for AWS. Sorry. Um, the next thing I want to do is I want to build this get bedrock cloud move, right? So it will get the board and the opponent moves. So it will get the attacking board of the opponent and the opponent moves that was already provided, already done, sorry. And we will try to pass it to the AI, right? So here I have an invoke statement, but I think that first we need to build the body for Claude. So the body for the API. All right, so we're going to use Claude, and I'll probably need to look into my memory a little bit now. So I've prepared some some things for the, oops, sorry, that's not the correct file. Yeah, it's here. So I did try out this Claude thing a little bit before. So this will be our Claude body, and we're gonna just copy it for now. I was hoping that the Copilot will help me here, but it probably forgot. So the body is the initial element that will pass to the AWS SDK to access our module. So the Anthropic version, it's like a standard constant. We're gonna use a large amount of tokens, but we could probably decrease it to 5,000. We're gonna use temperature 0 because I want the responses to actually be more of JSON format. It's easier for me to work with JSON on my application backend. So I'll try to make the AI or Claude to respond in JSON, right? So basically, I'm gonna use a temperature of 0, and I'm gonna provide a system first prompt. Please provide the next move as an opponent in the battleship game. The board is board size. So the AI is aware of the sizes of the board. Be smart and strategic. Respond only in JSON format strictly, and provide a row, column, and an entertainment comment. We're going to see what's going to pop up in this one, and nothing more, right? So we are strictly saying what type of information we want the AI to provide for us. And finally, we have our user message, right? So the user message will be, here is my board. Here is the moves that you made, if there were moves, and use that to provide an answer. And I don't know if this one has what happened here. Okay, I think this one wasn't indented correctly. And now we'll need to invoke the module, right? We need to use the Bedrock runtime. So we're gonna have like a response, and we're gonna invoke the module. We're gonna pass the body. We're gonna use this Claude 3.5, Claude 3.5, which is a great module for reasoning. And I think that's it. That's enough. The next thing I want to do is I want to get the response back, right? I'm going to read the response from Claude. Let's load it into JSON, and let's just print it for now. Let's print the JSON response, right? And obviously, the place that we want to initiate that, there might be questions. No, don't see any outstanding questions at the moment. The place that we're gonna probably try and hit that is on the opponent turn, right? So the opponent at the moment picks those from a random place. So instead of doing this, right? Instead of doing this, we're gonna replace it by having the row column, let's say the comment, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna do the game state, opponent attacks, and opponent moves, right? So we can do that, or we can actually use our database, right? So uh, we can do opponent doc, and it will be game, right? Like game find this game ID, and yeah, and I want only the attacking board and the opponent moves. right? So now I'm gonna actually provide it from our document, right? So now if we're playing online, if we're resuming, if we're coming back, and we will have a resume ability, then this thing comes out of our database, this content and context. So in fact, this is a RAG, just not using specifically vector search, but it using the document module to basically provide a description to the AI. So before we actually get this information back, let's see what we get back. Right, let's do this and do a return here at the end. Right, like let's just stop the game, stop the opponent turn. And hopefully this will print some content out. Um, let's just fully rerun. Let's clear all this. All right, let's rerun the application. I'm gonna move it up here again. Hopefully this this is visible to everyone. See if this is visible. Yeah, it's visible. And now we can do the settings, wide mode. Cool. All right, so let's let's do a hit here. Opponent is making a move, right? And we didn't see any prints at the moment. Let's see what happened. So we run this, and this should have printed the output. So let's see if that goes. Right, we get a response and response body. Okay, let's print that we're inside this function. Print inside inside this thing. All right, cool. Let's rerun. Maybe I didn't save it. Maybe that's a possibility. Let's see. Let's do oh yeah, we didn't save it. So now we have here a none type. Okay, that's interesting. So we are passing a none type into the turn, basically. The So we should have found. Oh yeah. This how is it called in my documents? Like how do we call it? Oh, I have 5 documents here. Object ID attacking. Okay, let's clear the data again. Let's delete all documents. Let's go back here. And let's rerun. Rerun. You know what? Let's reset the game. Let's reset the game completely. All right. Now let's move here and let's see what's happening. Okay. So now we have 2 player documents. That's not good. Okay, let's do this. Let's see what's happening. Reset game. Yeah, we have 2. this is another game ID. Let's remove this one. So why don't we have the opponent board in our database? Let's try and see what's happening here. So here we are setting the game ID, setting the opponent board. The game ID here, type opponent. All right, so this looks correct. Set game ID, opponent attacks, opponent moves. Yeah, let's just print before inserts for updates on game ID. And then we'll just print game ID. Okay, let's try and rerun. Let's reset the game. Okay, before updates on game ID. Also, it created two different game IDs. Because that's interesting. Why did it create the game ID? Maybe we'll move this thing from here. And let's see where we can place that. Let's see in the database what's happening. Okay, so I only insert the type player. I don't insert type opponent. Oh, I see what happens. This is the problem when you're working with copy pasting stuff, right? We don't have the upsert command here. Okay, let's do this again. Delete. All right. Now let's go here and hit the reset game. All right. Okay, so it still runs twice, but it created the opponent game. Let's see which one is active, and then we're going to solve the problem of the duplicates. So if I'm updating this one, all right, then I'm getting this opponent attacks key error, right? So it's probably coming out from the element here. So let's see what's going on here. So we're using the game ID from the game state. Let's print it. Let's print opponent. Let's print game, and then let's see what's happening here. Game, yeah, game state, game ID, and let's print. Boom. Let's print the opponent moves. Yeah, game ID and type opponent. No, this should be fine. Okay, let's do this. Let's do a refresh. Gonna start a new game. Gonna do this settings widescreen again. Okay, let's hit. All right. So now we are on game. Okay, so it's the same game, and we're trying to fetch game ID 2C and type opponent. Let's see. Do we have it? 2C type opponent. So we have board and attack. Oh, okay. So we have the naming board, right? This is my board, and the other element is called attacking board. Let's copy paste it from here. Sorry. So here we have game state, game ID, and opponent. Oh, maybe this one should be decorated with the object ID. Maybe that's the problem. Let's see if that's the problem. All right, saved, rerun. He says you missed. We have now an error on opponent moves, and I bet that it's my typo. Opponent moves. It's empty, or now it's not empty. Opponent move is empty. Okay, let's try to figure out it differently a little bit. Let's pass in the game state for now, and then we're gonna figure out a little bit later what's going on with the query. It's something that I'm overlooking. Okay, we're gonna take the attacking board and the opponent moves from the game board. We're gonna, ignore the fine one for a moment. Okay, and we're gonna save this one, and we're gonna let's rerun and just see what happens now. It says attacking board, so maybe I'm mistaken. Oh, it's called opponent attacks. Here it's called attacking board, opponent attacks. Okay, I need to get better with my naming convention. Opponent attacks and opponent moves. Let's rerun. Let's try to. Opponent is making a move. All right. Okay, nothing errored out at the moment. Opponent is making constant moves. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, so we are in some sort of a loop. Maybe it's the return without anything. Oh yeah, we're not changing the state. Okay, so let's stop that for a moment. So we need to change the current player in order for the game to know that now it's the player move. But we can see that actually we got a response from our AI, right? It tried to attack row 4, column 4, and it gave us a nice this nice statement that we can add to our prompt later on, just for fun. All right, so this seems to be working. So now we can actually, return the X and the column and the row instead of printing it. So we can go here and we can say, return all of those back to my application. Cool. Now I can get this information back and use it as my row, column, and comment. Okay, and I can add my comment here, right? So this comment is not relevant anymore, and I want to see the AI comment. All right, let's see if that works. Did I stop? Oops, sorry. Did I stop running the Streamlit? Yes, I did. All right. Let's see how the game behaves now. Settings, wide mode. Cool. Let's try and hit this cell. Right, I missed. Opponent is making a move. Ooh, here, and missed. And here is the output from the LLM, right? Nice. Okay, so we got it to pick a place on the board. Let's do another move. Boom, it chose this one. So we see it's not random. It tries to attack it more intelligently, right? We're trying to basically find a place closer to where it tried before, right? So it will probably go, oh, boom, it got me. Nice. So it chose 4 and 5 and got a hit. Let's see if it's smart enough to continue in any direction. Ooh, it tried to go upside. Let's see if it'll go down. Phone is making a move. Boom. Okay, so it is actually more intelligent, much more intelligent than the random one, right? Because it understands that if this was a hit, so we need to try either this or this. Nice, Claude. But I'll get you on this one. Boom, another one. Okay, so we see that it does think intelligently, right? Let's go back and figure out what's going on with our database. So let's remove all the records again. Right, let's see that it's cleared. Let's go back to our code and try to see how do we store the data. So we are using this update one on the game initialization. All right, so we could potentially do first a request to see if that document exists. So let's see. Game ID is my game ID. Right. Okay. So if I'm doing this, let's say I'm printing here, right? I'm printing the game IDs, right? So let's try and run this query within our terminal. So right now we don't have any elements, so we will reset our game, and hopefully now we'll have data in our database. All right. So we again created 4 records. So we're running the initialization. That's a bug in my application. I am running the initialization a few times, probably every rerun. So let's do another state here. Let's say game state, and initially we're going to call it not started, and then we're going to say oh, by the way, we can probably, what we can do is we can place all of those inside the game ID element. And then only on a reset game will our session will be cleared. So only then this will happen. Okay, let's try this one. Let's do a find. Let's delete everything. Delete the 4 documents. Delete it all. Have it here. All right. we save this file. We're gonna go on to our game. I'm gonna rerun, and we're gonna reset the game now. Okay, now we reset the game, and now hopefully we'll have only 2 documents. Great. So we have one with the game ID and the different boards, right? And now we should actually update this every time we create a move, right? Because now every time we're gonna change something, or like here, this won't be reflected on our database at the moment, right? Because we'll still we're doing this only once, so this will not be reflected. So what we need to do is we need to reflect that. So what we're gonna do is when we are performing our turns, let's say we have, where is this function? Opponent turn, right? We can say, final stage is, update database. Let's go with update database. And we're gonna define this new function here, right? I actually prepared some of this code up front, but let's do the update database. And we're gonna, let's do update database. I'm gonna say, update database type. And we're gonna say the type. Oh, let's get the type here, right? I'm gonna say type attacking board, player attacks. But we not only this, we need to also update. Sorry, the opponent moves, right? We need to update the opponent moves. So we're updating the attacking board and the opponent moves. Cool. And hopefully this will help us to do this for every turn. So we're going to update database here, and we're going to update database when the user attacks. So update database player, and here we need to say update database opponent. Nice. Okay, let's see if that works. Let's run this. Okay, so it went through. Let's do our finds. Okay, yeah, so first of all, I see that the opponent moves appeared here in our database. And the attacking board also have this heavy multiplication, right? The signs that we hit the ship. All right, so now this thing is working. And now hopefully we can actually fetch this data, the game state and the opponent moves, from our database. So game ID, it's game ID type opponent, and we want the attacking board, right? Attacking board. Attacking board. You know what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove this projection stage, just in case this one. Yeah, and I want to actually print the opponent document, just so we know that we attacking board. Oh, so what did I use before that? Maybe that was the problem. It's not the game state, it's the opponent document. And this is also the opponent document. All right. Cool. Let's do the rerun. And now let's make a turn. No, it still says opponent moves. And let's see what happened here. Okay, so we found the opponent document, and it says attacking board. And it says here's the attacking board, and there's the opponent moves. So interestingly, where did it error out? Opponent moves. Opponent doc, opponent moves. Yeah, so this one should have been here, right? So I do see it here, opponent. Maybe it's misspelled. Opponent. No, I misspelled it here as well. So this seems to be something odd here. Because I think I'll see it. Okay, let's do it this way maybe. Opponent doc. Okay. Now let's rerun this. So rerun. And hopefully this time, oh, there's no attribute. No, so it wants me to query that through. Maybe this is the problem, opponent. Yeah, this is probably the problem with misspelling when you live coding. Right, let's see if that works. Rerun. Oh, it worked. Okay, cool. So now this thing is coming outside of our, out of our database. So yeah, it took some time to debug. But let's see if I can win him, right? So hopefully I can, because I know where the ships are. So I'm gonna hit those, and I'm gonna sink them. So yeah, hopefully we did see during this live stream that the nice way of the JSON document and how you can operate it with your database and build a really intelligent game in, let's say, a few tens of minutes, right? Like the stab that was here was not intelligent at all. It was just like something that you probably see in some computer classes, where you have a basic, here is my representation of the world, and this is a random step that the opponent is doing. But now we can actually see that the AI is trying to do like some strategic element picking, right? And we can provide it with context. So hopefully that was helpful. I really encourage you all to get on our platform, see, go to MongoDB, try it out, create your cluster, go to our Gen AI showcase and see the different articles that we provide in the different notebooks specifically for Gen AI showcase. Yeah, specifically for Bedrock, we have this very, very nice agent tutorial that has a nice notebook that you can open in Collab, and it has all the information about how to use vector indexes and how to connect through Boto 3. But let's recap it quickly, what we have done on the Claude side, right? So on the Claude side, what we've done is we've created this Claude body. We provided the context from our database back to this AI opponent. So he's only seeing the different elements that we want him to see. and we use that prompt to get a JSON back, right? We use the prompt to construct a JSON. It basically returns a row and a column based on a strategy. So maybe I can go on and develop this thing into some other areas in that game. So with that said, I'm gonna appear again. I would probably bit the AI agent there with my game. So hopefully you had fun and learned a few things. Please subscribe to our community and engage with us, join the community and see the different posts. I also recommend everybody to go on the Developer Center and see the newest tutorials and newest content that we have for AI. And please join every week when we stream and see the recordings. And I'll try to upload this game so you can try it on your own with the AI opponent in the beginning of next week. And I'm going to attach it in the description of this recordings. So thank you all for joining. I was Pavel Dukovny, a lead developer advocate at MongoDB. And hopefully the errors that we saw and the troubleshooting that we did will help you on your journey with MongoDB. Bye-bye.